Hey, it's Kari, and I have no hair now. Not so yay. Literally, right after recording my first chemo session, after I said I hadn't noticed hair loss, that's when I started noticing my hair falling out. At first it was just little clumps, but as each day went on, the clumps started getting bigger and bigger. It was really bad when I took a shower. As I was washing my hair, I just had these huge clumps of hair stuck in my fingers, and then my hair was all over the bathtub floor. And then when I would brush my hair, there'd be large clumps in the hairbrush. Every day my hair was getting thinner and thinner, and it made me feel like an old lady. I also thought I was starting to look like Gollum from Lord of the Rings, like with how patchy and thin his hair is. He's got like little wisps of hair. I thought my hair was turning into that. So with my hair loss getting worse every day, I decided that I was finally just gonna shave off what was left. It was weird seeing myself bald, and I'm still getting used to it, but honestly, it's less depressing having no hair at all than having me constantly brush clumps of hair, losing clumps of hair, holding clumps of hair in my hand, and just my hair thinning. And the bald look is better than the Gollum look. I remember the day that I got my head shaved, I was looking through photos on my phone, like when I had hair, and then like I switched off the photos and I was in camera mode and it was in selfie mode, and it was like so jarring to see myself bald right after seeing pictures of me with hair. As I said, I'm still getting used to it. I'm still wanting to get my hair brush, forgetting that I don't need it anymore. I still want to wring my hair out after I take a shower. I will say, showers are a lot quicker when you don't have hair, so that's one nice thing. I also like feeling how fuzzy my head is. My eyebrows and eyelashes are still hanging on, so we'll see how long that lasts. So enough about my hair, or lack thereof. Let's get to the real reason for this video. Chemo session number 2. My second chemo session was December 27th, 2021. I arrived at the hospital, got checked in, waited a little bit, and then I went into the blood draw room to get my blood drawn. Like where I go, they have like a specific room for blood draws for like chemo patients, and just about every time you go there for each appointment, you go to that blood draw room, or not necessarily go to that blood draw room, but you'll always get your blood drawn, basically. Like I said, I hate being poked and prodded, and I really hate blood draws. I just have this irrational fear that I'm being bled to death, and I can feel it going in and it hurts. So like me feeling it, it's like I know what they're doing, and that just makes my anxiety worse. However, the last few blood draws I've done pretty well with. I didn't get lightheaded or anything. I was able to distract myself with my phone. So I thought I'd be able to do pretty well with this, like I have had for the last few blood draws. Well, after I got my blood drawn, and just as the nurse was finishing up what she needed to do before I went to go see my doctor, I started feeling lightheaded. So I told the nurse that I was starting not to feel good, and she asked, do you feel like you're ready to pass out? And I was like, yes. So she had another nurse find a wheelchair for me so that they'd be able to wheel me into my room when I was ready and feeling better. I started feeling my eyes roll back, and I was very close to passing out. The nurse told me to like take deep breaths, and she kept saying, "Stay with me, stay awake." I started taking deep breaths like the nurse was saying to like stay conscious, but it was very hard. And then I started to feel sweaty. I remember I said that I felt like I needed to lay down on the floor, but there was nowhere to lay down. So the best I could do was just lean back in the chair, and that sucked because I really felt like I needed to lay down. That's all I could do was just lean back. The nurses then gave me a cold pack for my neck and then like a cold rag for my head to like help with the sweating and feeling hot. I put those on and I started to feel better. And the nurses were like, yeah, you're starting to get your color back. After I started feeling better, they wheeled me to the room where my doctor appointment was gonna be. The nurses told me that what happened to me was a normal nervous reaction and it actually happens a lot, but I was still kind of embarrassed. They said that next time I get my blood drawn, I should just go straight to the appointment room instead of the blood draw room, because in the appointment rooms, they actually have chairs that like move, like incline and stuff, whereas in the blood draw room, it's just a regular chair and you can't lean back or anything. So they said next time I should just start in the appointment room so I'm able to lean back. And I also want to mention that this was my first time in the blood draw room. And I think that was part of the problem this time, that I wasn't leaning back, whereas the other times I was already in the appointment room. They did the blood draw in the appointment room and I was able to lean back because like I asked for it, because I warned them ahead of time. And thinking back on it, I probably should have warned the nurses, but like I said, I was doing pretty well, so I thought I'd be able to handle it, but obviously that was not the case. So now I know that for sure I've got to be leaning back when I'm doing my blood draws. So what should have been 5 minutes turned into a 30-minute ordeal. Oops. After that nightmare, the doctor came in about 5 minutes later. We went over a few things, like how I was feeling symptom-wise, and we were also discussing the Eligard. My insurance ended up denying it because they thought it wasn't medically necessary, and my doctor kind of agreed with that. My doctor said that women on the Eligard treatment end up dealing with menopause symptoms on top of their chemo symptoms, and that's really difficult for some people. He also told me that there wasn't enough evidence to support that Eligard preserves fertility for cancer patients. My doctor said that if I wanted the Eligard treatment, that he could put in an appeal to my insurance, but I didn't want to deal with all that, so I just opted out of it. So, no Eligard, no shot in my stomach, no hot flashes. Yay. My doctor appointment lasted about 15 minutes. Then I took the pee test, and then I got my next appointment scheduled. Then I finally got into the infusion room and The Price is Right was on, so I got to watch that. About 10 minutes after I got settled into the room, I started my pre-med treatment, which was the Tylenol and the Benadryl for the pills. And for the IV, it was saline and Dexia, which is the anti-nausea medicine. The nurse asked if I had eaten anything yet for the prednisone, because with prednisone, they want you to eat first. They want you to have like a little bit of something in your stomach before you take it. And I really hadn't eaten anything. It had been a while, so I said, no, not really. So she listed off a few sandwich options, and I ended up getting the ham and cheese sandwich. And for hospital food, it was pretty good. And I was hungry anyways. After I ate the ham and cheese sandwich, I took the prednisone pills. and those are the nasty pills. The pre-med session lasted about 45 minutes, and I remember at the IV site it was chilly again sometimes, and the Benadryl also made me super sleepy again. The Price is Right was over, so I flipped through the channels, and Harry and the Hendersons was on, so I watched a little bit of that. After the pre-meds, I had to wait about 35 minutes for the rituximab to start. During the rituximab session, I mostly dozed off because I was just so tired. About 2.5 hours into my rituximab treatment, a nurse came in to do my lumbar puncture. So I got up, I bent over, had to hold my mom's hands again because I'm a baby. And the nurse did the lidocaine and then the actual puncture. To me, this time it felt worse than the first time. The pressure was like worse in my tailbone this time, and it just overall felt more intense to me. My mom was trying to distract me by having me recite the ABCs backwards, and then she started to go over potential vacation plans. I tried to stay distracted, but it was kind of hard because, like I said, this time it felt worse. And also, it was just one nurse in there administering medicine, whereas last time it was a doctor and a nurse. So there wasn't as many people to interact with to like try to distract me. The lumbar puncture lasted about 15 minutes, and I hated every second of it. But I was still able to get through it. At the same time that they finished my lumbar puncture, the rituximab session was over. So in total, the rituximab session lasted about 2 hours and 45 minutes. And after the lumbar puncture, they had me lay down flat for an hour. After the lumbar puncture and the rituximab, I waited about 25 minutes for them to get the doxorubicin. And doxorubicin is the one where the nurse has to put it in slowly with a syringe. And that took about 15 minutes. After the doxorubicin was done, they administered the vincristine through IV, and that lasted about 20 minutes. After that was the Cytoxin IV, and unfortunately during this time I was starting to get a headache, and it was probably from the lumbar puncture, and that's why they have you lay down flat after the lumbar puncture, because that's supposed to help you not get a headache. It's supposed to prevent headaches, but apparently it didn't work this time. But I was able to watch Judge Judy during this time, and I love her, so Judge Judy made it better. The Cytoxin session lasted about 30 minutes, and after that the chemo was done. They rinsed the IV out for about 5 minutes, and after that was done, they took my IV out, and then I was sent on my way home. Now, during the Cytoxin session, there was one time where I got that weird ammonia metallic taste in my mouth, but it was just the one time, and that was it. But after the chemo was done and I was on my way home, that weird taste would come back in bursts. Like, it'd go away, then come back, it'd go away, and then it'd come back again. Fortunately, it stopped doing that the next day. So overall, besides the blood draw disaster, it wasn't too terrible. I got through another session. As side effects go, they really haven't been that bad. I haven't felt too nauseous. In fact, I think it might be better than the first chemo session. I haven't had to take as many anti-nausea pills. I've not had to eat as many ginger chews. I really think it's a God thing, because I know that after each session, your symptoms are supposed to get worse. And so I was really worried about feeling more nauseous and having to throw up. But like I've said, I've felt less nauseous than the first time, and the first time it wasn't even really that bad. I had one bad day last week where I felt kind of yucky, but that's it. So your prayers are working. Keep praying for me. We'll see how session 3 goes with symptoms and side effects, but if God can keep them at a minimum now, I know He can do it later. So thank you for watching this video. Keep me in your thoughts and prayers. Be sure to follow me on my Instagram at HeyItSue90 to stay up to date on my journey through cancer. If you liked the video and want to see more of my content, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. It would mean so much to me. Until next time, I'll see you all later. Bye.